So Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the two little hucksters from Montecito, they're going crawling back to the UK.
Meghan Markle's upcoming UK visit depends on one thing, insiders say. Meghan could return to the UK this year for the first time since 2022. It has been reported that she could be joined by her husband, Prince Harry, at an Invictus Games.
Prince Harry is heading back to the UK, and this is not the big comeback he seems to think it is. This is turning into a serious legal mess, and it's getting uglier by the day. His massive lawsuit against the Daily Mail is starting to collapse, and the details coming out are wild. We're talking about allegations of witness intimidation, fake signatures, paid testimony, and a legal team that includes a convicted phone hacker.
Witness intimidation, dishonesty, fraud, and conspiracy. Those are some of the allegations against Prince Harry and his legal team.
Yes, that's real. And if Harry loses this case, he could be forced to pay a staggering £38 million. That's not a typo, 38 million. But here's where it gets even more unreal. All of this chaos is happening at the exact same time Harry is trying to work his way back into royal security by using wounded veterans as leverage. People close to the situation say the timing is no accident. Stay with me, because once these dots connect, the bigger picture starts to look very different. So, what is Harry actually suing over? He's going after Associated Newspapers, the parent company of the Daily Mail.
The Associated Newspapers is a subsidiary of the Daily Mail and General Trust, Lord Rothermore's holding company, which has agreed to acquire the Telegraph for $500 million. Proposed takeover expected to face regulatory scrutiny in the coming weeks. I actually did not know that piece of information, but that is very interesting.
Claiming their journalists hired private investigators to do some seriously shady things more than 20 years ago. We're talking about hidden listening devices, trackers planted in cars, digging into private phone records, and tapping private conversations. The whole dirty playbook. It sounds explosive, but the timeline alone is already raising eyebrows. And Harry isn't doing this by himself. He's pulled 6 other people into the case, including Elton John, Baroness Lawrence, and a few others. The trial is set to last 9 weeks. That's 9 weeks of testimony, evidence, and tough cross-examinations. This is a massive legal battle, but here's where things start to feel off. The Daily Mail's lawyers came out swinging with some heavy accusations against Harry's legal team. And this isn't about small paperwork mistakes or missed deadlines.
Say truly going on with this court case. Because Harry seems to think this is going to be a slam dunk for him. He's feeling very bullish about all of this. But he's lost quite a few cases before this. And even when he's won, I think really at the end of the day, he's won sort of penny.
According to court documents, they're accusing Harry's side of dishonesty, fraud, and conspiracy. Let that sink in. The center of this whole disaster is a witness statement from a man named Gavin Burrows. He's a private investigator, and his testimony was supposed to be the key reason the other claimants even agreed to file this lawsuit in the first place. But now Burrows is blowing the whole thing wide open. He says the entire witness statement dated August 2021, the one that helped launch this case, was written by other people without his knowledge. And here's the real bombshell. Burrows now claims his signature on that statement was forged. Forged. Think about that for a second. The main witness, whose words helped kick off this entire lawsuit, is now saying his statement was fake and his signature wasn't even his. If that's true, this isn't sloppy legal work anymore. This is straight up fraud. And it gets even darker.
If they lose this case, the cost is quite high, to the tunes of tens of millions of pounds. This is an absolute disaster. And one witness is so scared he won't even tell either side where he is currently living. My suggestion would be to Harry and anybody associated with this case is to just pack up and move.
Gavin Burrows is now so frightened that he refuses to tell either side where he's currently living. Think about that. A key witness in a massive court case is so scared that he won't even tell the lawyers where he is. The judge is now considering a very unorthodox move where only the court knows Burrows' location and nobody else does. That's how afraid this man says he is. His lawyer told the court that Burrows believes giving evidence could put him in personal danger. And why is he that scared? Because there are now serious allegations of witness intimidation. And here's where things take a nasty turn. Apparently, Byline Times, which critics say is very friendly toward Harry and Meghan, contacted Burrows right before he was supposed to testify. Yeah, let that one sink in. They told him they were about to publish an article about him, and Burrows took that as a clear warning shot right before the trial. In his mind, this wasn't journalism. It felt like pressure, plain and simple. The timing alone made it look bad.
The court heard that Gavin Burrows, a private investigator who disputed evidence was instrumental in persuading many of the claimants to sue, believes there has been a blatant attempt to intimidate him on the eve of the trial.
Now here's another detail that should make people uneasy. Harry's legal research team includes a man named Graham Johnson. And who is Graham Johnson? A convicted phone hacker who used to work for News of the World. Let that sink in. Harry is suing newspapers for allegedly hiring people to hack phones and invade privacy, while his own legal team includes someone who was literally convicted of doing exactly that. The contradiction here is wild. It's hard to sell the moral high ground when your own side has that kind of baggage. But it doesn't stop there. The Daily Mail's lawyers are also claiming that some witnesses were paid for their testimony. And in court, that is a serious red flag. When money is floating around a witness box, credibility takes a direct hit. It's like a jailhouse informant situation. Maybe the person is telling the truth, maybe they're not. But once there's a reward involved, every word they say becomes suspect. You start wondering who's talking and who's performing. Now let's talk about the real damage here, the money.
So another development ahead of the 9-week trial, which cost 38 million pounds, by the way, they had to have a separate hearing just to make sure everybody knew that they may have to pay millions upon millions of dollars for this case if they lose.
This 9-week trial comes with a price tag of about 38 million pounds. That's so high the court had to hold a separate hearing just to make sure everyone involved understood what they were risking. And here's how British civil law works. If you lose, you don't just pay your own lawyers, you also pay the other side's legal costs. The whole system is built to scare people away from weak lawsuits. And in this case, that rule feels especially relevant. Most of the claimants have insurance that covers up to around 2 million pounds. Sounds like a lot, until you realize the total bill could blow way past that. Once the insurance runs out, they're personally responsible for the rest. That means tens of millions of pounds could land straight on their own shoulders. Real money. Life-changing money. And here's an even darker twist. Let's say Harry somehow wins his personal claim, but the other 6 people lose theirs. Harry walks away clean. The rest of them are stuck with a massive legal bill they can't afford. He moves on. They're left staring at financial ruin. He's dragging other people into this mess, and they're the ones who could lose everything.
Harry, and we've seen this endlessly from him at this point, he is a bitter, angry man. He's very, very angry, very, very vengeful, very, very vindictive. And unfortunately for many of the people associated with this case, he is dragging them down with him.
And for what? Most of the alleged wrongdoing happened 20 or 25 years ago, back when tabloids ruled everything and celebrities had almost no control over their own image. That world doesn't even exist anymore. Social media changed the whole game. Celebrities now share their own lives non-stop. The old paparazzi culture barely has the same power it once did. This lawsuit isn't fixing today's problems, it's fighting ghosts. Which raises the real question, why is Harry still doing this? Because this isn't really about the Daily Mail. It's not about journalism from 2 decades ago. This is about ego, about anger, about settling old scores. And he's willing to burn millions of pounds and pull other people into financial chaos just to feel like he won. Now here's where everything lines up, and this part matters.
Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. An exclusive in The Sun on Sunday, Rafe. Meg's summer return. The Duchess of Sussex is planning to return to the United Kingdom for the first time in 4 years. Meghan is due to join hubby Prince Harry at an Invictus Games event in Birmingham.
Harry is expected to return to the UK in July for an Invictus Games countdown event in Birmingham. And according to leaked reports, Meghan will only attend if her very specific, very strict conditions are met.
We're worried about the Invictus Games turning into the Meghan show. So the royal family can't do what they want because it'll all be about Meghan. So that is the kind of, how do we make sure that we can be seen to be on the front foot? They're not that, it's a never explain, never complain philosophy they have, but they've got to start making sure their PR, because public opinion in Britain needs to be seen.
We're talking about 4 entire floors of a hotel shut down just for Meghan's team. Armed security follows her everywhere. A fleet of luxury cars with drivers on call 24/7. Bulletproof glass at the Invictus Games. Read that again. Bulletproof glass at a veteran sporting event. And anyone who interacts with her has to address her as Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, even though she lost that title when they stepped down as working royals. She's still demanding it.
My goodness, this woman just continues to, I guess, not surprise me. That's what her MO is. And it's just so weird because this could all be so easy to poo-poo and like to debunk. And she won't, because she wants us to think she's this royal that gets all this.
Where is all the money for this coming from? Is it Invictus Games funds, donations, or money meant for wounded veterans? If so, that's deeply disturbing. Here's what's really happening. These stories about Harry needing security, about Meghan's demands, are surfacing right before a major decision is made about whether Harry gets automatic armed protection while in the UK. This looks like a PR move designed to pressure the royal family and the government. The stalker they mention isn't dangerous. There are photos of Harry with this woman at previous events. She's a super fan, a Sussex supporter, and that's it.
This crazy woman and her demands. This is how inflated her big head is. Meghan is making some very unreasonable demands.
Yet the narrative spins her as a threat, justifying why Harry needs armed protection. Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Police recently had their budget slashed by £260 million, and Harry expects them to be at his service 24/7 even though he doesn't live in the UK and isn't a working royal. No other non-working royal gets this kind of treatment. And let's be real about Invictus for a second. At the last event in Canada, veterans wanted Meghan gone so badly that she was sent home early. Now, veterans are threatening to boycott if she attends, because they see this isn't about them. It's about her using them as props for a PR revival tour.
The last thing the Invictus Games wants, and we've seen it when they were in Toronto and everything, it becomes the Meghan show. They don't want that. And this is what they want it to be about: the service personnel who will be competing. That is the primary objective.
And here's something even more striking. Meghan's own father recently had his leg amputated. He's in the hospital. She hasn't visited or called him, yet she plans to show up at Invictus, pose with veteran amputees, and act like she cares. The hypocrisy is hard to ignore. European royalty deliberately avoids Invictus because they believe the spotlight should stay on the veterans. Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, want to turn it into a personal PR spectacle, complete with bulletproof motorcades and 4 floors of hotel space.
And I think there's a version where this might actually happen because Invictus Games will pay for it. And then if she gets this armed security, well, that's the one thing they were waiting on to show, see, we deserved it. Our status is that important that we have armed security in the UK, which not even Taylor Swift is allowed to have, or anybody else who come mega actual celebrities. That's what they want. They thrive on being special. They thrive on being elite.
Let's zoom out and look at the pattern because it's important. Harry keeps filing lawsuits and keeps losing. Or when he does win, the payout is tiny compared to what he spends on legal fees. Yet he can't stop. He's addicted to being in court because it gives him the feeling of fighting for something. Here's the ultimate irony. Harry is suing newspapers for invasion of privacy, for sharing private details about his life, for allegedly accessing private information. But who shared the most private details? Harry himself, through his book, on Netflix, on Oprah. Nobody asked him to reveal stories like what happened to him at his brother's wedding. This is a man publicly exposing his own life while taking others to court for doing something similar decades ago. The contrast couldn't be more obvious, and it paints a picture of a legal battle that's as much about ego as it is about justice. Nobody needed to know that he rubbed his mother's favorite cream on himself while thinking of her. Yes, he actually wrote that in his book. Nobody needed 30 pages about being shoved into a dog bowl during an argument with William. The newspapers didn't make Harry do any of that. He chose to humiliate himself and his family for money, and now he wants to blame the press for his reputation.
Hey, Michael, good morning. Yeah, Prince Harry's court case against Associated Newspapers, that's the publisher behind the Daily Mail, is set to begin Monday, and ABC News understands that Prince Harry will be there on opening day.
Daily Mail is probably making more money off the headlines about Harry attending these trials than they ever would have made from whatever stories they published 20 years ago. He's literally filling their coffers. He's giving them exactly what they want: drama, conflict, and sensational headlines. And he doesn't even see it. This is what happens when you surround yourself with yes men and lawyers who get paid whether you win or lose. Harry's lawyers are making millions off him. They don't care if he destroys himself financially. They don't care if the case collapses. They get paid either way. But Harry is the one who risks bankruptcy and humiliation. Harry is his own problem, not the newspapers, not the royal family, not the British public. Harry went on Netflix, he trashed his family, he published Spare, he did Oprah. Until he can recognize that he created this situation, nothing will improve. It can only get worse. So what happens now? The trial starts on Monday. Harry is scheduled to testify on Thursday, and the question is whether he will even make it that far, or if he'll settle before stepping into the witness box. Because if Harry gets cross-examined, it won't go well for him. The other side will dig into all the inconsistencies in his story. They'll ask about the paid witnesses. They'll ask about the forged signature. They'll ask why he's suing for invasion of privacy when he has publicly shared more private details than any newspaper ever did. My prediction? He settles. He takes whatever face-saving deal he can get, spins it as some kind of moral victory, and walks away.
Dishonesty, fraud, paying for witnesses, these sorts of things, which just makes Harry's case look... It just makes it look bad and distasteful. And why he's bringing this case is he's claiming he's trying to, you could argue, fix the British press system. Because, you know, it's against him and his wife. So the whole system must be bad if people don't agree with him.
Actually going through this trial and potentially losing in spectacular fashion would be too humiliating for him. Meanwhile, the IRS is reportedly investigating Archer, their charity foundation, because the numbers don't add up. They are spending far more money than they're bringing in, and questions remain about where exactly the funds are going. As for Invictus and the security demands, King Charles isn't going to attend, and he shouldn't. Showing up would play right into Harry's plan. It would give him exactly what he wants, legitimacy by proximity to the royal family, and the British public will support Charles if he says no. Despite what Harry's PR team tries to sell, the British people are done with this circus. They don't want to fund his security. They don't want Meghan back in the UK. They're tired of the manipulation.
Really is the end of the American dream, as Prince Harry's propagandist at Us Weekly admit not only is he losing it, totally full of what they describe as anxiety.
The constant victim narrative and the attempts at blackmail. Connect the dots. Court case imploding with fraud allegations. Security demands rejected. Veterans turning against him. Meghan's products failing. Everything they touch. Netflix, Spotify, their charity, now this lawsuit seems to fail. Why? Because they are the problem. The trial starts Monday. Harry testifies Thursday. If you want to see how this disaster unfolds, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and drop a comment below. Will he settle or will he testify? Let's watch this circus together and see how it all plays out. Like, share, and comment to stay in the loop with every shocking update.